I was having these thoughts of like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I love that person more than anybody in my life.
Connect with us on the Emotion Wellness Podcast for a transformative journey of human connection. Witness personal stories, improve your mental health education, and acquire valuable resources for optimizing your well-being. And visit emotionwellness.com for more information.
Welcome, I'm Jason Turner. This is the Emotion Wellness Podcast. I'm here with my brother, Frank Parisi.
How you doing? Frank Parisi here. We're excited for this one.
And our good friend, Dario.
What's up?
How are you, man?
Good. Things have been very good lately.
Well, tell us more about that. Let's jump right into the good shit.
What
Tell us what you said. You said very good
things
shit.
are good.
So for me, a lot of things have been popping up as far as being able to just step back and notice the growth that's been happening since. There's been quite a bit of growth, if I'm being honest.
Take out the quite a bit.
So there's been a lot of growth. Yeah.
There you go.
So for me, especially in the beginning of my journey, about 2 years ago, coming over here to San Antonio, going into treatment, I definitely didn't think I'd be in the spot I am today. Like literally in this seat, speaking to you, speaking to Frank. Just overall surrounded by people who motivate me every day to become the best version of myself, which is going back to the reason why I'm feeling great is I feel I'm at that point where I am the best version of myself, today I am, and I'm only growing and getting better, so 2 years ago, that was unimaginable. I definitely did not even think I'd literally be on this planet 2 years ago. So every day I take a little bit of time to kind of just meditate on that and just take a deep breath and just be grateful and thankful that I am here today, and it's great. I mean, life has amazed me in the fact that I didn't think it could be this great, and I'm just kind of like excited, but a little bit of anxiousness around
take out the kind of like.
So,
there
is excitement there, but there is also some angst, which is I've always had this feeling of when the other shoe is going to drop, So throughout this whole journey of my whole process and recovery and just growing, that's been there. I'm getting better at dealing with it as far as not letting it overwhelm me and consume me. Like it did in the beginning of my journey. So that was a very big part of what I had to overcome was the future is going to be what it is. And I just got to be more in the moment and in the present and just enjoy it, because at some point some shit is going to pop up, and I'm working at being better at handling that when it does come up.
One thing that I would offer you if you're open to it, because that feeling is, I had it. I still can run into it, right? I'm sure you've had it with that shoe's going to drop. That's a real familiar thing for a lot of people who, especially coming from like substance use background. So what I would offer you is when that thought comes up, what if you switched it to, I'm going to wear the fuck out of this shoe. I'm not going to wait for it to drop.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wear it. So right now things are good. The tread on your shoe is going to wear out. You're going to need a new shoe at some point. So the reality is that it can't be prime time all the time. Mm-hmm. At some point, things are going to switch, right? But for the moment, just wear the shoe. Like wear the tread out. You know what I mean? Just run on it, plant your feet down. So it's a good visual for me that's helped in the past where like, oh, when's the other shoe going to drop? It's like, no, I'm going to wear the fuck out of the shoes I got right now. And if that means I'm wearing the fuck out of a sole that's telling me life's amazing and I'm at the best version of myself, I'm just going to wear it. I'm wearing it every day. And then when the tread wears out, I'm going to replace it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that helps you or not.
No, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So wear the fuck out of that tread. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, you were in a bad spot. How did it get from super bad to almost not being here to like the best version of yourself? That seems like a very dynamic and immense change. Right?
So I'll start with where I was at when I started the journey before I decided to get the help. I was, drinking and using on a daily basis. And it was getting to the point where I really thought I was losing my mind. You know, I was having crazy thoughts, thoughts of like hurting people that I truly loved, both just like physically and just figuratively. I had a lot of people who loved me and were trying to help me the best that they could, but they just didn't know how to. They weren't equipped to help me. I was the only one in my family, as far as my immediate family, who was going through something like this. And as much as my mom and my stepfather loved me, they're kind of just lost, just like I was. You know, I was lost. I had no sense of direction. I was just confused on why I keep doing this, the things that I do. Like they say, that insanity thing is like doing the same thing over, expecting different results. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get better. I knew I did. It got to the point where I knew deep down if I didn't get some type of help, again, I wasn't going to be here much longer. And it took a lot of failure and a lot of, you know, seeking out the help, getting a bit of it, trying to learn the tools to help myself.
When you say seeking out the help, what did that look like?
For me, it first started just trying, like I was doing like watching a lot of self-help videos and things of that sort, trying to, you know, mend this thing on my own. And that was a big problem too, was I was on my own. I did not have community like I do, especially like how I do now. And looking back, that was a big part of the main problem, was just I was lost and alone, and I just felt like nobody understood me. So with all that, I was in a very dark place. I had also lost a couple people that were real close to me, and like that really took me down, like a deep dark spiral. So it was, like I said, I felt like I was suffocating, and I desperately was frantically searching for the lifeline. And the only way I knew how to cope with it was, you know, put something in my body, because it gave me that mindset of, oh, well, I'm not scared to die now, you know, like, because I was. When I didn't have those things in my body, I was very scared. And I was just like, the only way to cope with that was to put this substance in my body that helps me overcome that fear. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it pushes me deeper into my problem.
Mm-hmm. Crazy, right?
Yeah. So, and again, I was lost. I didn't know what I didn't know, you know. And where I'm from, down by the border, it's a border town, Mission, Texas. They don't really have a lot of resources, so to speak, with this kind of, you know, whatever you want to call it, disease, condition, whatever you know you want to label it. And there's a lot of the problem there. There's a heavy drug use, lot of,
and culturally, right? Asking for help is.
Oh yeah, it's frowned upon big time.
Yeah.
Which was another thing. Like my parents, I love them, you know, to death. And my stepdad, he raised me. My biological father, he was not around when I was growing up as a kid. So that was, you know, that was another part of the problem too. Was, you know, growing up, you kind of are like, well, why doesn't my biological father want to be around? You know, I didn't know at the time he had his own demons and things going on.
We make it real personal.
Yeah, exactly. And like now I've learned to forgive and love, you know, at whatever distance that is. But culturally, yeah, it's my stepdad who raised me, and, you know, he's no longer with us. Love him to death, but he was just one of those straight up, you know, old school Mexican type. Suck it up. That was like the family motto right there. It's like, suck it up. You're a man.
Yeah.
You know, you don't show those feelings.
Bro,
you know.
I get it. Listen, I'm Italian, so it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I understand. Mexicans and Italians are very similar culturally.
Yeah.
Especially family. Don't talk about nothing. Never show any vulnerability. Don't talk about your problems. Handle it. I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
I understand. Totally.
And it's, for me, that was a very big problem, because I was a sensitive individual, you know, like I guess you could say hypersensitive. I remember like being a kid and like my parents arguing and like me getting in the middle of it, and they're both drunk, and I'm, you know, 4 years old trying to break it up, crying, and
I get that.
yeah. So
I've been there.
And growing up, it was a lot of that, you know, a lot of parents just both being, you know, under the influence of alcohol a lot. Again, back to the cultural thing. Every niece's, cousin's birthday party, you know, they're turning 4 years old, yet there's liquor and bottles and all kinds of things, you know, happening. And it wasn't uncommon to, like, have the adults give kids alcohol, you know? It was like a rite of passage sort of thing. And for me, growing up, I remember not only were drugs and alcohol normalized, but it was like glorified. Growing up, one of our family movies that we would literally get together and watch was Scarface. So, you know, we'd, as a family, come together, turn off the lights, turn on the surround sound, and, you know, sit around and, like, admire this character in the movie who's a freaking drug lord, you know? And it's like, looking back at it, it's like, oh, okay, I could see where things were starting to take that turn, you know?
It, bro.
Yeah. And, you know, and my biological father was heavily in the organized crime. And so, you know, when the times I would go over, I would see a lot of, you know, things that probably aren't normal for a kid to see, you know?
They're normal for this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I relate so much to you, bro. I can't even believe this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, holy shit.
And, yeah, so it was like, you know, a lot of sketchy characters around, and dad up and gone all hours of the night, and I'm just there, you know, with my other cousins who, you know, at 8, 7 years old are doing, you know, drugs and things. So as far as I can remember, all that was around, all that was accessible, and all of that was, again, not only normalized but glorified. It was like, you know, do this if you want to be cool, do this if you want to fit in, which at Emotion we talk a lot about is like us just wanting to fit in to whatever group that is around, you know. And that happened to be the group that was around when I was, you know, coming up as a kid.
Well, fitting in equals acceptance.
Exactly. Yeah.
And our map is only so big at our age, right? Until you start to experience other things, you only know what you know.
Yeah, exactly.
With all the influence and environmental factors and pull to be in that life, like how did you, what was the moment or what led up to you coming to grips with, I need to release this and go in a different direction? It seems like for some people, it's like, oh, that's a no-brainer. But really, if you understand it, there's a lot of pull there.
Yeah.
And to be able to step away from what's familiar and what's family, right? And move in a totally different direction, that's literally counterculture to everything you knew. How did you, what led you to that point?
I remember one day specifically, I was in my room. I'd been up for probably like 4 days, no sleep, no water, no food, just, you know, doing things that I shouldn't be doing, putting things in my body that I shouldn't. And I had like a knife in my hand, and I was arguing with my mom, and she was, you know, of course, getting on my ass because she knew what I was doing, and I wanted everybody to leave me alone so I could keep doing what I wanted to do. And even though in my mind I knew, in my heart I knew that I shouldn't be doing this, I was already in, you know, full grips of it. And I was having these thoughts of like, if you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I love that person more than anybody in my life.
Yeah.
So for me to be thinking this, something's very wrong, you know? And it was like, I managed to fight that, you know, those thoughts, because again, you know, those evil thoughts were there, but I still had the thoughts of goodness inside me. And I knew that was like completely like just out of the realm crazy. And I called one of my friends, and I talked to him, and, you know, he could hear the fighting going on, and he was just like, yeah, dude, you do need help. And him saying that it kind of like snapped me out of it. And I was just like, you know what, as much as I don't want to do this, I think I'm going to check myself into treatment. And I don't know how it all settled back down. I don't remember, but I just remember my mom looked online. She found a treatment center, and literally they were like, you could come tomorrow. And that was, you know, against my own wants, because I still didn't, like, with everything going on, I still didn't, there was a big part of me that still was like, no, I don't want to go, you know, because like you said, everything was so familiar, and I was so used to living that way that I was just like, it was scary. It was real scary.
Oh, dude, it's wild. Like you just brought me to a moment, and this is why I love this process of.
Yeah, right. You have your own experience.
Yeah, and you hear someone's story. And it's like, so I was in the military.
I feel the same way.
And I remember, and I just went through this recently with somebody where every person, there wasn't a single person in my life that wasn't looking at me saying, dude, something's really wrong. Like, you're not okay. And it's like, what? Like, I know, no, it's not the alcohol. It's this other, it was like, and to have so much evidence that for me, it was the drinking and the pills, right? The drinking and the pills, every time my life is in the shitter, it had to do with that.
Yeah.
I had tons of evidence.
Yeah.
And to really look somebody in the eye and say, I couldn't get this until much later, but asking me to give up alcohol, the only way I can describe it to a person without substance use, and I don't know if this was how you guys felt, it seems on par with asking me to give up a limb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Very
Like,
much.
without
like
a
if you were
doubt.
like, hey, give me your arm.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, give me your heart. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way I want to do that. And that was the same pull I had.
Yeah.
It was such a part of me.
Yeah.
So this, it's an authentic battle of, you know, the guy that helped me get sober used to talk about spiritual warfare. And that was just a way better visual for me than like, you're just a drunk and you got to get sober. I'm like, I got excited about like, you're a warrior and you need to fight. You need to pick up the sword. You need to go to battle. You need to do this thing for you and for others, because there's a bunch of people out there, right, who are suffering.
Yep.
Who, because we've been able to get through that barricade, are going to be able to follow behind us.
Yeah.
And we have a responsibility to them, right? So you just put me in that space of, I just remember that authentic battle of,
it is spiritual.
I want to be over here, but I also feel like I really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what happened? So what was the moment? Do you have a visual in your mind of like when you were like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it?
Yeah. The fighting continued, and I like literally kicked my leg through my mom's door, and like my foot got stuck through the door. And because we kept fighting, you know, like even though she was in the moment still trying to help me, I was just so out of my mind that I was punching holes in the wall, kicking, you know, through doors. And when like things calmed down a little bit and I looked around, it was like, yeah, this is, I don't care how, I don't care who, but someone and something needs to happen and take my ass to treatment, because I don't know what's gonna happen in treatment, but it's got to be better than what's happening right here. Because I mean, I'm kicking through my mom, you know, kicking holes through my mom's door, knives in my hand, thinking crazy thoughts. I mean, and then coupled with like having these ideas of like, oh, I'm gonna rob a bank or something so I could get more money, so I could buy more, you know, things that I shouldn't be putting into my body. And it's like, okay, yeah. So when I came to like I had that little moment of clarity. It was just like a split second of like, yeah, there's a lot wrong here, and I need to do whatever. And I call that my higher power's voice, you know, because in that moment I was still fighting against it. I was still like, my thought was, no, you know what? Maybe somehow I can still do it on my own, even though, like you said, the evidence has shown time and time again that I have not been able to get a grasp on this. Something in my head said, like, this is what you're going to do. And, you know, like I said, my mom made that call. I spoke to somebody at that treatment center, and they said, we have a bed available. If you make it here tomorrow this time, you know, we'll get you in. And I drank the whole way over there, but you know what? I showed up. Yeah, I showed up, and
they actually like it better when you show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they did send me to the hospital first, and then I was able to go into treatment. And that was the start that changed my life, because you know, I went to treatment, and I always say there's this guy there in treatment. You know, he came in, long hair, short shorts, and said a little bit about himself, and I was like, does this guy really know anything about what I'm going through? He probably doesn't know anything that I'm going through. What do these people around here know? You know, what are they gonna show me that I don't already know? Because, you know, I had that, I was the smartest man in the room, you know, complex. And I didn't think there was anything that he could show me, but that dude ended up showing me a lot and, you know, helped change my life along with you, Jason. I mean, again, like the fact that I'm even here is just, you know, it's like a beautiful like movie, how we were talking about earlier. It's like this movie being made like right before our eyes.
Yeah.
And Jason was a big part of me even being here because he gave me the opportunity and the space to go and sharpen my tools and, you know, sharpen the sword, like as you just said, because this is a battle. And you know, every day we could let, you know, that evil consume us or take us out, or we could just, you know, step up and say, fuck that. I'm going to go to battle. And that's something that I'm truly grateful for, because on days I wake up and I'm hurt and I don't want to do anything, I'm just like, the discipline that I've just acquired throughout this journey, it's not who I used to be. I used to, like, when things got tough, run the other direction, and when things got hard, I'd quit. And you know, that was a big thing that that was a part of my story, was just like I get a little bit of consistency, and then again things would get a little bumpy, and I'd be like, you know what, this is too much, I'm out. And you know, being at Emotion, being around people like you, Jason, and Jamie and Frank, and just people who are getting in that arena every day and putting in the work no matter if they're feeling shitty, it's hard to see that and not want to participate in that. And that's been what I strive for now. It's like, instead of chasing the things that are bad for me, it's like, let me go out and chase the hard things that are going to benefit me later on in life, you know? It's going to be hard right now in the moment, but it's going to pay off in the future. And in doing so, it's definitely helped me with the whole other shoe's going to drop, because I'm learning to just embrace the moment more and more. And right now, it's hard for me to say that I'm not there, though, because like I do love the moment right now. Like I'm basking in it, and I try to look at the beauty and all, even in the hard and ugly times. It's easy for me to just know it could be worse, you know, and like, I used to be the type of person to be like, oh yeah, of course that would happen to me, or, you know, like things of that sort. I just had a real negative mindset, and now it's a blessing to be around people who've helped me shape that and shift that perspective. And like I heard you say one time, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but you said something about like, why me? And you're like, so that we could go back in the fire and pull people, you know, out without getting burned.
Why not me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I took that, and I was like, ran with that in my head, and just a lot of things that I've heard along the way that have really helped shape me and my mindset to just embrace adversity and you know, embrace the challenge, because it strengthens you, you know. And it's like, okay, like there's days now that I wake up and I'm excited for the day, as opposed to when I first started this journey, it was exhausting just to exist, you know. It was like, just, you know, when the eyes would wake up in the morning, it was like, damn, I would hate that I was up another day.
I was going to ask you, like, why do you think you continue to show up? And then you said it, which was the word discipline. And I feel like so many people consider discipline an attribute, like it's like a characteristic. And I really see it as a skill that gets developed and built. It's because discipline improves and enhances with each execution of showing up. So you show up, you get the result, the dopamine response happens. That's the motivation builds. It's not, the discipline isn't before, it's after. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So the building of the discipline is why you show up when you don't want to now, is that you've done that 100 times or 300 times. And I think with our process at Emotion, so many people only see the physical activity part, but the layers that are underneath the physical activity are this transferable skill of showing up every day and doing hard shit.
That's right.
It's getting uncomfortable. And if you think about the addicted mindset, what is the whole essence of addiction? Pursuing relief, chasing comfort.
Yeah.
moving from discomfort to comfort, which you described earlier as like, I got to do this thing, but the thing causes me to have more problems. I've been conditioned to do this response to chase this chemical. The chemical reaction in my body creates immediate relief. That immediate relief puts me in a position to create more problems. So the expanse of my problems gets larger. The window of my tolerance gets smaller.
Yeah.
And that's where we see higher acuity. Because now I'm using more frequently because I've got more problems, and I have the inability to tolerate anything for any length of time.
Yeah.
And when you think about engaging in what's the greatest skill you can teach somebody is to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the greatest skills you can teach somebody. Because you can't teach somebody how to show up. If they can get themselves to show up, you can teach them how to be uncomfortable. I think that's what I watched with you. So you went to treatment. Was it a 30-day?
Yeah. The first one.
How many treatments did you go to?
I went to 4 different treatment centers.
30 days or?
Yeah, they were all the 4 that I went to were all 30 days.
How far apart?
The first one from the second one was about 5 years apart, and then the second, third, and fourth were in a span of 6 months.
So you go to the first one, and then you have 5 years. Were you sober in that 5 years, and then you went right back to the?
Oh yeah! As soon as I left the first treatment center, I went down the road to a bar and put my coin on the bar, and was like, "I'm not an addict. I just did 30 days." So.
And then did things get much worse in that 5
Oh
years?
yeah, it got way worse.
In the last program you went to, what do you think switched?
They definitely. I had no choice but to show up and do uncomfortable shit, and I wanted to leave. I mean, the first day I was like, I can't do this. It was like an all male treatment center, and they took away your phone. You didn't have your phone at all, and you got one call a week for 10 minutes, and that was it. And it was just groups, and sharing your feelings and expressing yourself, and that was real uncomfortable for me. But it also forced me to get out of that comfort zone. Yeah.
So that one works, and then what happens?
Then I got out, and Jamie was like, "Where you been, man?" And I was like, "I just got out of treatment again." And
how did you know him from?
From my first treatment center. Yeah. So he was taking out the workout group over there.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. All right. So he was bringing it out there. I got you.
And I was there. Yeah. And then he saw me when I went back the second time, because I went to that one twice. And then I went to that third one. So he was like, you're not getting something. And he was adamant that I go to Emotion. And I had went to the morning workouts a couple of times, so I knew a little bit about what was up with it. And I'm not lie, I was intimidated, and I was like, I don't know, So I was like, he was like, if your insurance doesn't go through, I'll see if I can work something out. And I was like, nah, dude, you know what? Like, if it doesn't go through, it's cool, dude. Like, like, don't worry about it. But that was just me not wanting to, step into the arena, so to speak. And again, that's why I'm very thankful to you, because, things didn't work out with the insurance, but you gave me the opportunity to still attend. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I'd be right now, honestly.
What's dope?
Yeah, and I don't care to really think about where I'd be now, because I just so glad where I'm at. So it's like it all worked out.
What happens a lot of times for people who are in your situation, they don't understand the value of, like, when you're the one in receive mode of that, the value of showing up. And so this is, let me think. You are the first client employee at Emotion, like the first one that went through the program, and we have a lot of people that are in the, they want to be a part of. It's just a matter of finding spots for them. But you are the first one to actually complete the program and then start working with us. And it started with basically what we would call a scholarship, right? So the only time I've ever been threatened to be sued in my life is when I gave a scholarship, right? So oftentimes there's this thing where it goes, there's no buy-in, so there's no skin in the game, so people take it for granted. And so many, and it feels like, it's not like I'm not doing it to get a thank you, but I will tell you, when someone takes that opportunity and then is sitting before you in a podcast studio,
it's pretty dope.
Having helped the amount of people that you've helped since you've been helped, showing up every day, and now mastering the art of the coaching and the running the fitness class, like that there's no words to even describe that. Man. Like that's like a holy shit, you know.
Yes.
So thank you, because that for
is showing up and doing it.
That's a moment. That is such a beautiful moment.
It really is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like it's just all full circle, you know.
That's dope.
You have great perspective.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I learned from the best.
You do.
I asked Nelly this question earlier. What, with your current day-to-day process, describe to me the things that you do to maintain. You have a great energy, great spirit, you're super kind. How do you stay on track daily?
First, it would be, of course, we do hard shit, getting comfortable, which is the morning workout. That's what starts my day. When I get off of that, and then, well, of course, being around the people in the community, which we all usually have something in common. So being around a great community. And then I go home. I usually try to do some type of like reading, meditation, and just get back to ground. I've been grounding lately too. That's something. I'll go outside in the sun barefooted and just put my phone. I've been putting my phone away more, and that's something, you know. It's like I've been trying, like at work, leave the phone off my person, and so little things like that, and spending time, of course, with great people and just trying to learn, constantly trying to learn. There's days I fall short, of course, but I also give myself that grace now. I don't set that expectation to the point where it's like I'm suffocating myself. And like I'll go home and be with my dog and just little things like that, and just take a second to look around at all that I have and reflect, and it just skyrockets my gratitude. And for me, that keeps me centered, and it keeps me just it keeps me in my purpose, you know. And again, like I said, there's days where I don't feel I'm living up to it sometimes, or that I'm not living up to it, but I know that's just the story that I'm coming up with in my head. And then I got to take a step back, take a breath, reset, and just realize that I am showing up and I'm doing the best to my ability, and that's all that I can do, you know.
Love that.
Great awareness of self.
One of the things I've recognized with the people at Emotion, the ones that, I mean, the team is incredible, right? So but when I think of you and Jamie, Jason fits in this category, Nelly, the characteristics that make for, in some programs they call them techs, we call them coaches, because they're literally coaches.
Coaches, yeah.
Is humility. There's this servant mentality and a humility of, I'm here. He's talked about it a few times. I'm here to soak it up. Like, let me almost be a sponge and suspend, because, you know, it's so easy to walk into a place. I do that everywhere I go. I'm like, oh, I could do this better. I could, you know, and none of them have that. They all have come in and been like, let me learn the process, and then they put their own spin on it at some point. So I just appreciate that about you. You know, Dario came in and was like, volunteer. And so many people nowadays don't want to do that. They're like, no, you got to pay me for my, you got to pay me for my inexperience and my time. It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You know? Or I get hit up with like, people wanting a paid internship, or, you know, it's like, whoa, like, no, like we're going to offer you a service. You can earn that through what we call sweat equity. And, but that seems to be it seems to be like not as popular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right off the bat, they want, you know what I mean? That paycheck.
Yeah, status. Well, they want, it's like status or something.
Yeah.
And people lose sight of the fact of why we're really here. You know, we're here to change the game for the individual patient. And that patient experience requires us to have empathy and concern, be strong with our boundaries, and maintain that professional, you know, presentation versus like taking shit personally. And when you have humility, it's really easy to not take stuff personally. So I love that, man.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about your current situation besides your girlfriend? So we know that you're going to give her a plug. So.
You better,
my current situation, I just moved out of sober living. I've been in sober living for 2 years, and as much as I did love that, and I learned a lot. I learned definitely with patience. That taught me a lot of patience. It's where I'm at right now. There and that emotion, all those things together. I feel like I'm at the most peace I've ever had in my whole life. That's the crazy part, because in the beginning, it was just about getting sober. You know, it was like, oh, I just need to stop putting drugs and alcohol in my body, and I needed to do that. You know, without doing that, then the other things don't happen. But I didn't think peace and happiness was gonna come with that, you know. Like, I guess I thought I had this thing where I was gonna get sober and be miserable because I wanted to still do those things, you know. In the beginning, it was very much like, I'm sober, I still want to go over here and do these things, but I know I can't. So today, though, I don't miss any of that because of all the things that I have now. And again, the peace and the happiness, the genuine peace and happiness that I have I can't put it into words sometimes, because it's just so crazy that I'm in this, you know, I'm in this place emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. All those things together, coupled with the physical aspect of it too. I'm about to be 30. I'll be 30 next year, and it's crazy that I'm in the best shape now than in my early 20s. You know, in my early 20s, I could barely get out of bed, and that was crazy. So
you're not alone, my friend.
yeah.
When you think about your sober living experience, so I think a lot of people have they're either apprehensive or they've got judgments about that, and it's not the sexiest time in someone's life, but I think there's a lot of benefit there. So when you look at your sober living experience, what would you share for anyone? Like, what did you glean from that as far as like takeaways, things, maybe lessons you learned, experiences that you had, things that looking back go, damn, I didn't even know that was happening while I was in there, you know?
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me was the boundaries thing. You know, you're living with 11 other guys. If you don't set some boundaries, you're going to build some resentments real quick. And the person that I am now compared to who I was back then, there would have been a lot of fights. You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
So, but I knew I didn't want to be that person anymore, you know? So it was like, I can't go back to those behaviors, because then that might lead and trickle to, you know, me going back to my downfall. And I'm definitely trying to avoid that. So speaking up, advocating for myself, those are all lessons I feel I learned from being there, being that emotion, and learning to apply and put in application the tools that I learned, you know, not just speaking them, because I feel sometimes that was something that I did have a problem too. I would have the knowledge and say the things, say all the nice things, but I'd never apply them into, you know, real world scenarios. So sober living was that arena where it's like, okay, I'm going to emotion, I'm learning the tools, I go back to sober living, this dude's pissing me off, what do I do now?
It can't be a fraud.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's definitely a lot of practice, and like, you know, you say all the time, repetition is the mother of all skill. So there's definitely days where some things are a little harder and it'll pop up and be a little more challenging. But I know I could go to that toolbox and just, okay, what can I use here, and try to apply it to the best of my ability when it does pop up.
He reminded me, we were talking about that earlier, right? So the boundaries thing, when I first got sober, I lived in this, I had a house, and then the guy that ended up becoming my sponsor, Andre, who carried the message to me, he had this guy, Ryan, who he sponsored in Tucson, and he had just bought a house. And so Ryan lived with this kid, Chris, and this kid, David. We called him Little Day Day, right? Me and David got super tight. Me and Chris were cool, but at first we weren't. And so I moved into this house. There was only 4 of us. Beautiful house, like north side of Tucson. Beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Up by Sabino Canyon. It's a really great area. And dude, so Chris, I'm sorry, man. I don't know if we've had a chance to talk since those days, but So he had this, I could see it like it was yesterday, and it doesn't create any emotion in me anymore, but there was this green Tupperware bowl, and he used to eat cereal out of it. And he would always put it in the sink, but wouldn't rinse it out. And it'd have a little bit of milk and sugar at the bottom. And then I would go to the sink, and it would be in there in my way and shit. And so rather than like have a conversation and say, hey man, can you move your dish? I would just take it to his bedroom, dump it out on his pillow, leave it upside down, and just leave it there. And I did that it was like, and it would still end up in the sink. So I'm like, okay, motherfuckers, you know. And it was like, you just reminded me of, God, man, so much work to do, right? It's like you're like, oh, I'm getting sober and I'm, you know, in recovery. And Andre had me do this letter. He's like, because I used to think I was something special, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna pretend you're gonna do like a dating profile. And this was so long ago that like really the social media wasn't a thing. And so of course I write things like, committed to growth, loves to be in nature and meditate. He writes like facing a prison sentence, broke, homeless, you know, lives with 4 other dudes, can't control his emotional nature. So he gives me an accurate one, and I just think about how delusional I was early on and what I thought I knew versus and now having wisdom. And I don't mean that in a sense of like intellect, or I think wisdom is like applied lessons from your experience, and the more time you've been around, the more experiences you have. And I'm just getting old. Like,
yeah, I know.
I've been around a while, you know. So thank you for that trip down memory lane.
You're welcome.
Wild, dude. Wild.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a lot of that going on too. I try to be, you know, as tidy as I can, but not everybody shares that same value, you know.
Well, and I'm having this experience right now at the center where, you know, Nelly said it earlier, but like, I'm kind of like the dad figure, right? And, which is weird, but it's cool. And and we were talking not too long ago about passing the torch, right? And I remember when Jamie first started coming around, he was always chasing me in the workouts. He always wanted to like, and I said, dude, don't worry, it's gonna take like a year and a half, and I won't be able to touch you. Like, first of all, you're in your 20s. I'm late mid 40s.
Right,
you know?
right.
And I said, it's just how it is. Like, I'm competitive, and I think I'm better than most, but I can't compete against that type of animal, especially with what he's become.
Right.
Yeah. So I worked out with him 3 weeks ago on a Saturday, and he like wore a vest. He did twice as much work as me. And I remember being done, and I was like, because when I used to talk to him, I would say, dude, we're not in competition, brother. Like, I would tell him. I said, I want you to be better. Like, that's the whole reason I'm doing this. Like, I want you to take it to a level that I could never get to. And I literally had this moment where I was like, dude, torch is passed. Like, you fucking torched me today. There's no way I can compete. And literally, there's no way. I'm not even in, there's no way. There's a couple things I might have him in, but like as a general rule, not even going to be able to touch him in a workout anymore. And what a beautiful thing, right? It's like to be able to say, so I'm watching them have these experiences. Like people are obsessed with like pickleball or playing volleyball, and it brings me back to like the racket club in Tucson where we used to play volleyball on the weekends, and we had ultimate frisbee on the weekends. And I remember being like, I just remember being this person who was coming from such misery and chaos to playing ultimate frisbee under the lights at this park in Tucson and having fun. Or like, when you're as sick as addiction makes you, here's how I know addiction is really a sickness. I've been sober over 22 years, right? But it's a while. I remember my first laugh. Like, that's powerful, dude. Yeah. Like you've been deprived of something so basic, right? And so part of the human experience that I remember laughing one night feeling like, oh my God, this is like belly laugh. No chemicals in it. Just having a bit, you know? Yeah. And now moments of like, you know, with my partner or like with just people in general and feeling joyful. Like it took me many years to get to joy, but I remember the moments. I remember the camaraderie, the fellowship. I mean, I have it in my life today, but you guys are like watching them at the center. I'm like, dude, this is like a recreation of this. I know exactly where they're at in a way, right? Because I'm like, they're starting these important relationships and they're moving in the direction of, I'm going to get a house, or I've been able to watch people grow up in just 2 years. We're only talking about 2 years. I got people who went from, I mean, I look at you, like Jamie, Nelly, people who 2 years ago, Jamie was in detox. Literally. he was as big as this, he was as wide as this pole, this little handle right here, you know? And now he's, you know, serious girlfriend, like moving in a direction, runs a sort of living, like what you're doing and moving in with your partner. And, you know, she was just on here describing how you show up for her. Like, it's incredible, dude. Like I know people in long standing relationships that don't show up for their partner that way, you know, and don't have that skill set. So it's been really cool. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like watching this, it's like another little ecosystem.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I could just imagine. I remember we were doing an affirmation group, and it was like one of the biggest ones that we had, and you came in on it, and you were saying like you didn't know like exactly who was going to be there or something like that, but the fact that it's just all there, and I was just like, man, like I want to have that for me one day. And even though it's not to that degree, it's still happening for me in other ways.
You're talking about like wanting to create the community.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know who the individuals would be that would show up. Yeah. Because, you know, my mentor in the business realm was this guy, Patrick Barassa, who owns a place called Imbalance Ranch, and they're now a treatment center called Align for adolescents. It's an incredible program. And I got to travel the globe, Nepal, Peru, like do really cool stuff. But a lot of the stuff that I aspire to is things I saw him create. We do some stuff that's a little bit different, but I just remember sitting in these meetings and being like, I'm going to have that one day. Like, I want that. And now today it's like, I didn't know it was going to be the Dario. I didn't know it was going to be you, but I knew that I wanted these individuals and these characters in my life, and they, you know, the universe provided. And the thing for me is, and I don't know, I'm curious what your thoughts are, but when you look at mindset, right? And we talk about story work. Mindset is the story you tell yourself. But what I'm curious about is what's different today for you as far as like how you approach life? Like, do you see it as it's abundant and you're deserving of these things? Do you have a visualization process? When you imagine your life and what you want to do, and I'm curious too, on a second part of this, what do you want to see from your life? I asked Nelly this question, what's 6 months from now and a year from now? Like, what are your goals? So how do you call forth stuff in your life now? Do you approach it with confidence and like I'm deserving? Do you still wrestle with the good stuff's like the other shoe's gonna drop, you know?
So it's funny that you asked that. I literally feel up until like this past month in May, I had been dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and just not feeling like I know what I'm doing and things of that sort. But I don't know what happened, and I might have heard something somewhere, and it clicked something to where I was like, well, I am doing the shit, you know, like I am showing up and I'm giving it my all. So why do I feel like I'm a fraud, you know? And since then, I just feel like I really come into my own more. And I mean, there's some days where maybe a little bit, if I'm not so knowledgeable on a certain subject, I might feel that. But overall, and just up until recently, I started feeling more confident. And I used to be afraid of expressing that confidence because you know how people, you've mentioned it, and I resonate with that heavily, where it's like people think it goes to your head.
It go to your head.
Yeah, that thing. And that was me. That's why I didn't like to share in groups. I didn't like to, and like when somebody would share something, like if they were going through a hard time and they would express that or share that in a group, I would feel like, oh, well then I can't share my good things that I'm feeling because, you know, like they're over there feeling bad. I don't want to like make them feel worse by sharing what's going on for me. That's great. But now it's like, you know, I'm going to share where I'm at, and regardless of everything else that's going on. But as far as, so I do feel more confident. I feel I am deserving, and I feel that 100% right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really subtle, and it's tricky because I do a form of that. I'll share it, but it's like morphed into this disclaimer before I say something. I'm not coming from bravado or not. And it's still with me. That's how conditioned it's been to be like, we're not celebrated for celebrating. Right. And that to me is tragic because there's a lot to celebrate. And I think about, you know, I asked I asked Jamie this question a while ago when we did an interview, and I'm going to ask it for you. If you didn't accept the challenge that the last treatment center offered you, right? If you didn't say, I'm going to be uncomfortable and do this, and then if you didn't get past the, no, I don't want the scholarship, I'm going to leave if my insurance. Have you thought about what might be different?
Yeah, I definitely have thought about that. I feel I'd definitely be back at home, just still going nowhere, still stuck in that rut, just spinning in the hamster wheel. And that's tragic, So today, doing all of that and showing up now, like I show up for myself, but a big part of me does it to honor the people who are not with me anymore. So that's been a major driving factor in my story. And I feel like that's what led me to take on those challenges in the first place was, you know what, this is because in the beginning I couldn't really do it for myself because you know how we come in, we don't really think so highly of ourselves. So in the beginning it was very much, well, let me do it because I want to honor these people who aren't with me anymore and I want to make them proud of me. And even though they're not here, some way, somehow, I feel like they're watching or hearing, and I wanted to take on that challenge for them in the first place. But now as I've gone through it and done all the work, it's like, I'm doing this for me now, and by a byproduct, they would be proud. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but.
Well, I wonder if you've given any consideration to how many lives would not have been impacted in a positive way had you not done that? Have you thought of that?
No, I haven't really thought of that.
But just sit with it for a second. How many people do you know just within your sphere who are?
That's a great question.
Shared with you that their lives are better because you're in it.
Well, that's funny that you say that again because somebody actually did say that yesterday to me. So, and that was a great feeling to hear that. And it's somebody who's becoming a coach and is shadowing right now and who themselves has had a lot of struggle. And for him to say the things he did say and say that I'm an inspiration to him, yeah, that really did, choke me up a little bit.
I think it's important because I said that question to Jamie and he was like, never even considered it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he was like, oh, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be dead and I wouldn't have this and I wouldn't have the relationship with my family. And, you wouldn't probably be with Nelly and all the things, right? But it's like, well, how much of the gift of you would have been exiled, right? This gift of your spirit would have been put into exile and the planet and the people in need would have missed out.
Yeah.
And like, man.
Dude, wake people up. I mean.
And it's not a thing about like, look how amazing I am. I help all these people.
Yeah.
It's like,
no.
Just by just the act of courage of showing up every day says to somebody else, it goes two ways. Fuck him. It's easy for him and I'll never do it. Or I want that.
Yeah.
There's two ways.
Yep.
And so there's so many people that see you every day and go, I want that. And I just wanted to remind you of that.
Yeah. And appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that, to my attention. Cause I really haven't, I haven't thought of that, but it is like, to me, I feel like that is my purpose though. It's just to try to lead by example the best that I can,
It adds value and it keeps me tethered. Because this thing's crazy, dude. Like, I want to do some dumb shit. And I'm like, I got people that depend on me. You don't get that freedom anymore.
Yeah.
You got responsibilities and you have to, people are counting on you. So I have to act right and I have to, it helps me toe the line.
Yeah.
It really does.
It does. Yeah.
I still got a crazy head between these years,
Yeah. Yeah. Nelly tells me sometimes like, well, it's like, I don't got it as together as you do. I'm like, it may seem like that a lot of times on the outside, but I'm like, trust me, there's a lot of exactly. Yeah, I'm like, trust me, there's still a lot of crazy things going on up here.
Yeah, I've been doing the right thing from a pure place. Not that I'm not claiming to do it all the time, but it's never let me down.
Never.
Ever.
Ever.
It's never hurt me.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
Yeah.
And it never will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I'm a big believer in like following the path of goodness and righteousness over, the other path. Because when I do those things, and I heard someone say, I think it was like in a Jordan Peterson book or something, where it's like, do you really help people for the sake of helping people, or do you do it because it makes you feel good? And I think it was kind of trying to say, like, so basically it's kind of doing it out of something selfish.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was like, but if it's still helping somebody, and, because I do feel good when I help somebody, so it's.
When I think about it, because it is a bit of a conundrum, right?
It is.
When I think about it, for me, it's like, is the primary driving force to fill my cup because I can't do that in other ways?
Or escape.
And am I needing the validation and the recognition? And I would say majority of the time that's not the case. Certainly fall into traps, right? Mm-hmm. Majority of the time it's I've adopted this way of life. My heart feels good doing it. Mm-hmm. It's important to me at the end of the day to look in the fucking mirror and be like, bro, I showed up different. My thing, and I feel like, Dario, you and I are similar in this way. And I thought at some point, I thought at 10 years I would have been able to get past it. And then at 20, I was like, I'll be able to let this shit go at 20, but it hasn't gone away. I am still wrestling with my need to balance the scales. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird place of like, I understand I've done a lot of good in the world and that I have this inherent goodness and I don't have to do anything in that sense to be good. But I'm also like, man, I did a lot of damage.
I feel the same fucking way.
I got to pay my dues every day to make up for the shit.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Especially after all this that I've been through. It's like I have to live like this path of integrity, service, constantly getting better.
Well, dude, we were sitting in a group. I don't think you were there. And there was a woman in there who heard his story about the transplant. And she started crying, and it's a powerful story. But was really curious, like, what's the tears about? And someone loses someone special, and then life energy from that person is gifted to another person, right? Two scenarios, right? Somebody gifts somebody something, and then they smoke and drink and waste it, or they read a book. Inspire fucking tens of thousands of people and like go on to like do amazing shit. Like there's a difference there, right? It's like, oh, this person that's special to me, the gift was received and honored. Yeah. And that helps with the healing process.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I feel like you're spot on with how you feel about it. And I respect that. And to show up every day and do what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
It's wild. It's a wild ride.
It's a wild, beautiful, insane life.
So real quick, Dario, 6 months and 1 year. Tell me what you're chasing, what you're pursuing.
6 months. Honestly, I guess because I live so much with day to day, just take it day by day. But in 6 months, I would definitely like to have started doing a little more for myself as far as training. I've been wanting to do like some MMA stuff and get back into that. That's been a little heavy on my mind, like starting to do some competitions and also just overall be more equipped as far as learning and being better at doing my job there at Emotion, as far as facilitating, and not so much as like just the exercise though, like the fitness portion. I want to be well-rounded, and that's been a big thing on my mind is like, okay, I need to really hone in on making time to like study and like study the different modalities. And like, I'm not just saying that because I'm here. It's just like,
I get it.
I truly want to have that knowledge, and like when somebody asks me something about it, be able to come with the right answers, and because I feel like that helps me better at being a helpful person to these clients and just people in this type of space, period. You know, I want to be the best tool that I could be. So that's 6 months is like I'm trying to, again, work on the things that I outside of emotion, which is my own personal things. But as far as emotion's a big part for me, a big deal for me. So it's like, I don't want to be there and just have one foot in, you know. It's like, to me, emotion is like, you got to be all in. That's the mentality. It's like all in or nothing, you know. So that's definitely some things that I want to work on is just overall, you know, sharpening of my tools and skill set.
I love that.
And a year, I don't know, a year, it's like, I don't really think that far, you know, and I don't know if that's good or bad. So,
well, I would encourage you to give it some thought, and we see each other on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So maybe we can check in. And,
yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Definitely start thinking about ahead.
Yeah.
In your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's, I guess, like I'm so fixated on like the things I'm doing like right now. Yeah. But no, yeah, it is good to plan. Yeah, it is good to plan. Yeah. So then that's something else I'll be working on is, you know, getting better at planning.
You got anything left?
What does the greatest version of Dario look like?
For me, it's just being on top of all aspects of myself, be it physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and just making sure that foundation is secure at all times, and continuing to help any way that I can, you know, help the next person out, and, you know, try to lead by example the best that I can.
Dope. Before we go, I want to ask this one question. So tell me about you and your mom today.
Oh, things are great. Yeah. In the beginning, she used to, when I was about 6 months in, she would like say how it feels weird because she doesn't have to be chasing me around and like hunting my friends down to find me. And she's like, it feels weird that there isn't chaos now. So, and she's finally gotten over that part. So now she's at peace too. And it's funny how, like, you know, I was causing everybody else to, you know, not have peace. And now that I found it for myself, my family's found it as well.
Just shows you how we are truly energetic beings.
Well, it's her post on the social stuff, and you can just tell there's a lot of love there, and it's super cool. So.
Oh yeah, you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Me and my mom are very close. You know, like, so it's she never gave up on me, and I feel that's a lot of why I kept fighting. You know, because it was this thing of, well, I need to be better for them in the beginning. Like I said, in the beginning, it was a lot like, I want to be better for my family. And then when I, you know, found my own peace and happiness, I was like, well, I want this for myself. You know, this is for me. So it's overall been a hard, crazy journey, but right now it's definitely where I want to be. So yeah, crazy. It's been a crazy ride.
Thank you for sharing it, bro. I see
appreciate it.
Myself and you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jason.
Just thank you for showing up every day, man. Like, really, the process for you, witnessing your journey, and then getting to see you in action every day is absolutely incredible. So it's a bit of the fuel and the catalyst for, you know, moving me forward and continuing to help me stay focused on my purpose, because it's like I have it right in front of me, right? Like, this is one of the reasons, right? The development of people and helping them carve a path for themselves. So, man, thank you for that.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. I hope to be able to do the same for someone. So,
and thank Jason Turner, man. Like, what a fucking dope
dude.
I mean,
from the bottom of my heart,
he's just a good,
for real, man.
Like people don't understand.
I'm just
what
glad,
a good human
I'm glad
being.
the world, the universe brought me
people don't
to
understand.
You know, the doors of emotion. That's for damn sure.
Thank you for connecting with us on today's episode of the Emotion Podcast, where we discuss all things mental health. Connect every week as we explore incredibly intimate stories of persistence and hope. Delve into mental health education and explore valuable resources. Available on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And visit emotionwellness.com for more information.